Bob Dylan was the 1960s even before the dynamic changes of that decade occurred. But just as remarkable, Bob Dylan, a legend of love songs, yet a wanderer in his own romantic affairs, loved many and passed through numerous relationships. But only one woman made him confess that she was the love of my life. So who is this woman, and why has Bob Dylan kept this secret for so many years? This is the story of his greatest love, a story that Dylan himself has never truly wanted to revisit. Before diving into the identity of the woman Dylan once called the love of his life, let's reflect on his romantic journey and the people who helped shape not only the man but also the timeless music he created. Suze Rotolo, his first lover, was the woman who walked alongside Dylan on the iconic cover of the freewheelin' Bob Dylan and whose influence is felt throughout many of his legendary songs. Rotolo passed away on February 25, 2011 following a long battle with illness. She was much more than just a muse, she was the spark that lit the fire behind some of Dylan's most heartfelt and powerful love songs, including Tomorrow Is a Long Time, Don't Think Twice, It's All Right, and Boots of Spanish Leather. When Dylan first met Rotolo in 1961, she was only 17 while he had just arrived in New York eager to build his music career. Their relationship wasn't merely romantic, it became the foundation for Dylan's evolving perspective on life and art. Rotolo's political views and activism deeply shaped his music, pushing him to reflect on social issues and integrate them into his lyrics. She was the one who told him about the tragic 1955 murder of Emmett Till, an event that moved Dylan to pen The Death of Emmett Till, his first protest song. Rotolo also played a key role in shaping the political dimension of Dylan's songwriting, guiding him to sharpen his message and avoid potential pitfalls. But as Dylan's fame skyrocketed, the pressures and demands of stardom took their toll, and their relationship became strained. By the end of 1963, they parted ways. Though no longer together, Rotolo remained a part of Dylan's artistic journey. She continued to live in New York, pursuing a career in the arts, including painting and lecturing. In 2009, she published her memoir A Freewheelin' Time, offering a rich portrait of the cultural vibrancy of Greenwich Village in the 1960s and sharing her perspective on her relationship with Dylan, a beautiful love story that couldn't withstand the test of time. Amid his turbulent relationships, Dylan remained famously elusive about his personal life. His first wife, Sarah Lownds, was no exception. Sarah entered Dylan's life in 1964 when she was still married to photographer Hans Lownds. At the time, Dylan was in a serious relationship with Joan Baez, and many expected him to marry her. But when Dylan revealed to his tour manager that he would marry Sarah instead, the announcement came as a shock. When asked why he chose Sarah, Dylan's response was simple: "Sarah will always be there when I need her, but Joan isn't always around." Sarah divorced Hans, and she and Dylan married in 1965. Their marriage marked a transformation in Dylan's life, bringing stability and grounding him in a way no one had ever imagined. With Sarah, Dylan found the family life he had longed for, and their relationship provided inspiration for some of his most deeply emotional songs. Dylan would later praise Sarah in his memoirs and reflect on how she had changed him. Their marriage seemed ideal at first, filled with children, love, and a sense of stability, but as time went on, cracks began to form. Dylan struggled with his increasing fame, his drinking, and his infidelities, while even mundane disagreements like the renovation of their home led to heated arguments. Despite these challenges, Dylan never fully gave up on the idea of reconciliation. In 1975, while recording Desire, Dylan dedicated a song to Sarah titled Sarah. In a poignant moment at Columbia Studios, he sang the song to her, pouring his heart into the lyrics as he looked directly at her. "Sarah, Sarah, whatever made you want to change your mind?" But Sarah sat motionless, her face expressionless, and no amount of emotion from Dylan seemed to move her. Though rumors suggested they briefly reconciled, their marriage ultimately ended in permanent separation. Dylan later admitted he had not been the best husband but also acknowledged that thanks to Sarah, he had become a better father. The song Sarah stands as a testament to Dylan's enduring love for her, and some believe that To Make You Feel My Love, released nearly 20 years after their divorce, was his way of telling Sarah that his feelings for her had never truly faded. From artistic passion to family bonds, Bob Dylan and Joan Baez were not just influential figures in the world of music, they were also intertwined in a deeply personal and artistic connection that shaped their careers. Their relationship was more than a fleeting romance, it was a union of two creative forces, each pushing the other toward greatness. Together, they created some of the most unforgettable moments in music history, and their love story was written into the very fabric of their art. While the reasons for their breakup were never fully revealed, many believe it had to do with Dylan's shift from acoustic folk to electric rock. Baez, steadfast in her devotion to traditional folk, felt alienated as Dylan embraced a new musical era. Despite their romantic separation, their friendship remained intact, and they continued to collaborate both on stage and in the studio. Years later, Dylan expressed regret for how he treated Baez during their time together. His public apology came in 2009 in the PBS documentary Joan Baez, How Sweet the Sound, where Dylan admitted he had been wrong to end the relationship and revealed that part of the reason was his desire to shield her from the chaos of his fame. Even after performing together at the White House Civil Rights Concert in 2010, their interactions were distant, hinting at unresolved emotions. But Baez never fully let go of their shared history. She immortalized their love in the ballad Diamonds and Rust, while Dylan often praised her in interviews, admiring her guitar style and emotive voice, the voice that once echoed in the happiest days of their lives. Among the many women who crossed Bob Dylan's path, Mavis Staples holds a unique place in his story. Not only is she a legendary figure in the world of soul music, but she was also the woman Dylan once proposed to, only to have his offer rejected. Dylan first encountered Mavis Staples in the early 1960s, when she was the lead singer of the Staple Singers, a family gospel soul group led by her father, Roebuck Pop Staples. The group became a powerful voice in the civil rights movement and played a significant role in shaping the music of that era. Mavis Staples, with her powerful, soulful voice, captivated audiences everywhere, including a young folk singer named Bob Dylan, who was profoundly moved by her talent and presence. In a later interview, Dylan openly admitted to having had a huge crush on Mavis during the 60s. At one point, he even went so far as to ask her father for permission to marry her. But at the time, they were both still young, and life would take them down different paths. Regardless of the romantic potential, their connection remained one of deep friendship, enduring for decades as their musical journeys sometimes overlapped and at other times led them in separate directions. In a 2016 interview with The Guardian, Mavis reflected on their bond and recalled the moment years later when she reunited with Dylan backstage at a concert. As they shared a quiet exchange, Dylan looked at her with a nostalgic smile and asked, "Why didn't you marry me?"